They make these videos and makes me seem like I'm crazy. Like, you are a villain. You are a bad person.
Hey, welcome or welcome back. Today, we are going to respond to a fat acceptance TikToker who thinks criticism is dehumanizing.
The most annoying group of people to deal with as a fat person on the internet is not like the dude bros making fun of me and calling me fat in my comments. It's not ED Twitter taking my videos and making me fat spell, making fun of my body and everything about so that they can starve themselves to not look like. No.
As a plus size person on the internet, her biggest problem isn't with the guys who are openly making fun of her appearance, and it's not even the girls who use her photos as inspiration to stay thin. So who's actually the worst to deal with as a plus size person on the internet?
It's neither of those. The group that is most annoying and irritating is the morally superior anti-fat activists that take fat people's content from TikTok, cut it up, upload it to TikTok, making money off of our face, our content, our movement.
So the people who dare to criticize the fat acceptance movement on YouTube.
I'm the bad guy.
I have a good idea why she feels this way, but first, I want to address this anti-fat activist thing.
Is the morally superior anti-fat activist.
The morally superior comment is pure projection. They feel morally superior because they think of their work as fighting for oppressed and marginalized people. They think of themselves as civil rights activists.
Fat liberation cannot wait for us to complete our healing before we demand equity for fat people.
What I'm doing feels a lot more like if you were walking through a park and pointed out dog poop so your friend didn't step in it.
I stepped in
I don't want vulnerable people stepping into fat acceptance because I see how it harms people in its current form. But it definitely doesn't make me feel superior to be able to identify and point out
all by myself.
And when I hear anti-fat activist, I think of someone who's working against their cause. And I truly don't think anyone has been more detrimental to the cause of fat acceptance than their own activists.
Because either they were fat and hate themselves, are currently fat and hate themselves, or just hate fat people in general.
This little oversimplification is a way to cope. It makes it easier to dismiss others when you reduce them down to a few cartoonish traits, real or imagined, and then define them by those. This is something I go out of my way not to do to fat acceptance activists. How can I actually understand the world and people around me if I'm using little shortcuts like, oh, those who disagree with me must be full of hatred?
I have had so many of my videos taken and put on the internet to be made fun of by a group of people that I don't know, that doesn't follow.
To be made fun of is a really juvenile way to interpret criticism and critique. And she emphasized that one of her main issues is that people are sharing her content to an audience that doesn't follow her, that doesn't know who she is. I think that's because of how hard these activists work to curate their followings and block out the rest of the world. I have seen way too many posts like, help, I'm on the wrong side of TikTok.
I am once again asking to be rescued from the wrong side of TikTok. Calling all fat babes. No, seriously, if you made it here, stay. So take me back. I'm ready to go home, please.
Help. I've been on the wrong side of TikTok for a month. If you're fat positive, can you interact with this video?
AKA, I'm interacting with people who don't just indiscriminately accept what I'm saying and positively reinforce it. Not saying that there will ever be a 100% acceptance rate, but good ideas can hold their own outside of echo chambers.
And every single one takes my arguments in the worst light possible and makes me seem like I'm crazy, like I don't know what I'm talking about, like, you know, I'm making everything up.
All the context in the world cannot cancel out the crazy in this space.
Today I'd like to take a moment to glorify obesity. Ooh, yes.
But I think we're getting to the heart of why she prefers actual harassment over people who do what I do. Because most people will agree that going out of your way to say mean things about someone's appearance is crappy. It's not a good look for anyone to just be making fun of the way that someone looks. Speaking of,
Visceral rage enters my body when I see the baddest I've ever seen in my entire life being sad because of the most disgusting, hideous, ugly man I've ever seen in my life. This man was so fucking ugly, so ugly. I'm so upset because he was so fucking ugly. Man who's never used soap before, criminal. If he looks like a gremlin.
that is Victoria making fun of someone for being ugly. This is Victoria declaring that looks don't matter.
There's more to life than being pretty. there's more to you than how attractive you are to the rest of the world. Your sole focus in life should not be to be more consumable, to be more digestible. You are a full human being, and just because you don't fit some narrow-minded belief of what is and isn't beautiful does not make you worth any less, does not make you have any less value. You are perfect in the body that you have. You are perfect in the way that you look.
There is constant contradiction in this movement. You don't have to look hard to find it, and that's just one of the many things worth critiquing about it. There is no shortage of misinformation or poor argumentation here, and I'm sure it's a lot more frustrating for her to be presented with valid criticism that she can't refute than it is for her to be presented with a bully where she can simply say, this is cruel and unnecessary.
And then search through your videos and try and point out inaccuracies to look for some kind of proof that fat people are all lying about being happy with themselves. They're all lying about being content in their body. And there's literally no room for nuance with that.
If someone is advocating for a cause publicly on the internet, essentially going into town square, hopping on their soapbox, and preaching to us simple townfolk, that person should be prepared for scrutiny.
I really enjoy being judged. I believe I hold up very well to even severe scrutiny.
This is not dehumanizing, which she has labeled it in her caption. This is a fundamental piece of the process of new ideas becoming accepted and normalized. We can't just accept things because she or anyone else really wants us to.
But maybe though, right?
No.
And not accepting her activism is not a personal attack, oppression, or anything else. It would probably feel less like those things if people weren't intertwining their whole identities with an ideology that can't hold up to scrutiny.
And they all think that they're the good guy. That's the crazy. They make these videos, take people's content out of context, post it to a hostile audience, and still think that they are the good guy. That's the thing that's the most frustrating, because they think that they're in the right. You are a villain. You are a bad person. Leave me the f alone.
I have this personal rule in my life, a few. One being, don't make Disney villains out of other people. To explain what I mean, I'll use this comment under Victoria's video that says, SamAtEverySize is a demon. For anyone who doesn't know, Sam is a YouTuber who has a channel similar to mine. Her commentary is well thought out and she's always really respectful, but she does dare to disagree with a lot of the fat acceptance movement. And rather than just acknowledging Sam as someone who disagrees with them, she has people calling her a demon, people making gagging noises at the sound of her name.
SamAtEverySize.
It is so childish and cartoonish, and it really creates a lot of confusion and misery for the person who chooses to navigate reality like this. And I actually learned this from my own activism, where I couldn't understand why people who I thought of as good people didn't want to support something that I thought any good person would support. It's not because they were demons. It's not because they're villains.
You are a villain. You are a bad person.
I put a lot of thought into understanding fat acceptance activists outside of those simple characterizations. And frankly, regardless of their intentions and reasons, their activism has and continues to harm people. Remember Rosie Beam? She is the woman who got accused of ableism because she cited not being able to wipe herself as a big motivation to lose weight.
Yeah, I am doing this. I'm happy I'm doing this. I'm overjoyed. I feel so much pride in what I've done because 2 years ago, I couldn't wipe my own ass and that sucked. And then I was called ableist after that, and people wrote think pieces about me.
She is part of a wave of people who's come out on the other side of body positivity and fat acceptance and realized that it's actually causing harm, even if that's not the purpose.
And yeah, I'm critical of this community, this online fat liberation, body positive acceptance online community. I'm critical of it. You should be able to be critical of communities.
Not only should you be allowed to be critical of your own movement or others, but it should be encouraged. And the fact that fat acceptance activists view critical thought as an attack is just another red flag.
But now I'm no longer a part of it. I don't want anything to do with that because it just seems like an ungoverned, weird hole of people that have been hurt by society that are actively hurting one another. My message is simply this. It's very easy to be body positive when you're in your 20s and you don't feel the impact of weight on your body. But simply put, I have one life on this planet and I do not want to live it on the sidelines.
She just hit on a big motivation for why I started this channel. I mean, besides the hatred, obviously.
Or just hate fat people in general.
We do get one life, one body, and seeing waves of people work so hard to convince other people to neglect their health is something I find pretty villainous. It's fine if I'm the villain in her story. In mine, she and her movement are basically the embodiment of hurt people, hurt people.
Hurt people, hurt people.
Thank you for making it to the end with me. I'd like to hear what y'all think about this. Should people be allowed to critique other people's content? Is there something I am missing in her perspective? Let me know. And if you like this video, let me know by giving it a like and subscribing. It really helps me out in the algorithm. Today's video was a bit more laid back, casual style response, and these videos are less time intensive to make, so I may try to do more of them. Any feedback would be very much appreciated, so let me know down below. I will see you all in the next one, and please take care until then.